Welcome to the Base-Ment. I'm Hannibal. These are just my thoughts. Yes, I'm working on the intro. I will get it right eventually. I saw a post and I want to make sure that I am getting this right. I believe it was something to the effect of stop using your past or who you used to be for the basis of who you are now. And I'm paraphrasing and I'm not even sure I got it right, but that's the message. And I'm going to ride on both sides of that line. We definitely should use the past experiences, gain knowledge to add into the person of who we are in a positive light, not in a negative light. But we should not be who we were. I mean, we're still the same person, but we should not be at the level of who we were today from yesterday, because we should continuously be building upon ourselves. One thing that I've always said to my daughters and people that I talk to is that we should always be in grow mode constantly. You should be learning something, and that doesn't mean necessarily out of a book or text or formal education, but just something as simple as, hey, maybe you didn't know your best friend's favorite color, or your daughter's hobby currently, or that you liked certain foods. Now, as simple as that sounds, think about it. How many people continue to repeat their daily process without any type of addition, any type of intro of new material, if you will, new data, new life-affecting information, other than the news, which is regurgitated and formatted for entertainment purposes? What are they really adding to their lives? Unfortunately, a vast majority of the world does not, because we're on the rat wheel, the mouse wheel, the recycling of our days. Even the holidays and vacations and enjoyable times, people tend to repeat the same process. Birthdays, people tend to repeat the same process. How many people do you know have a birthday and you ask them, hey, what'd you do? And they go, I went out to dinner. Well, where'd you go? I went to, and I'm just throwing a name out, Flanagan's or Fleming's or Red Lobster. And then the next year they do the same thing. And the next year they do the same thing. And the year before that they did the same thing. So nothing new added to that process. And therefore, no new life material learned. But back to the subject. Who you were is definitely and should be definitely the root cause of who you are now, or not who you are now, but how you are now, how you manage yourself. And so we have to recognize that on both sides of the fence. If you have accumulated, brought along, gathered, kept with you, hoarded baggage of a negative factor, you need to realize, acknowledge, accept, address that, whatever it is, or those, because you don't want that affecting your here and now current. I had a conversation with a good friend, long conversation. We had not spoken in a few months, maybe even a year. Communicated, but had not spoken. And there's always something extra when you have that personal verbal. You tend to communicate better. One, because we're creatures of tone and inflection and visualization and translations, meanings, even realities get lost in what we see in the or see and hear or read. Let me say see and read in the non-animated realm. So back to the conversation. We're having a conversation and talking about pain, talking about hurt, talking about past experiences, negative experiences, and how they can materialize in the here and now. How things from our childhood become factors in our adulthood. How processes, protocols, methods that we use or were used with us in previous relationships, interactions, filter into your new relationships. And I'm not necessarily saying intimate relationships or you get what I'm saying. Male, female, love, interest relationships, etc., etc., etc. But any of your relationships, even just your friendships, your frenemy ships. And he said a very profound, deep thing to me, and I just still rings in my ears. And it was to the effect of, you want to make sure that you heal or address your cuts, your injuries, or your wounds from others, so that you don't bleed on someone else. Let me shorten that. You want to heal wounds from others so that you don't bleed on someone else. Think about that. Not just that you try to cut someone else because you've been cut and that's the protocol that was used with you, and so therefore it becomes the standard method because that's what you're used to dealing with. Because that's the one factor where you acclimate to the method or level of interaction or types of interaction that you have been immersed in, and you take those with you into other arenas, and now you use these same methods. They say hurt people hurt people. Let me say that again. They say hurt people hurt people. People that are used to fighting, or people that have been fighting for survival, continue to fight for survival even when they're in a non-combative situation, because that's what they know. But think about this again, because that's the one side. Hurt people hurt people. But cut people can bleed on people. Injured paramedics, wrong, that bled together. Paramedics tending to injured people wear gloves, wear protective gear. Why? Because those injured people are bleeding. And guess what? They're going to get some of that blood on them if they're not careful. And in that blood is going to contain, they don't know, whatever is inside that person, healthy, toxic, or otherwise. And so now they do this to protect themselves. So I'm going to go back to that statement. You want to make sure that you don't bleed onto other people. You want to make sure that you don't expose other people to those toxins that you may have absorbed. So I'll stop right there. Don't allow, I'm going to change that whole thing up, because I do believe that where I am right now, this moment, having this conversation, is a byproduct, or not necessarily a byproduct, but partially a consequence of the things that I have experienced, people I have experienced. And I'm not saying they were negative or positive. I'm just saying as a result of interactions and situations, I've gained certain knowledge, had certain experiences, and am able to have conversations about that. Where I sit right now is a partial byproduct of my day yesterday, because I had experiences yesterday. Work, relations with people, just in the street driving. How I drive my daughters to school is a partial byproduct, not just of the fact that I took driver's ed when I was in high school, not just the fact of that I've been driving for many years, and not just the fact that I drive whatever type of car I drive and have to go whatever type of route I go, but it's also a result of the experiences I had yesterday taking my daughters to school, the experiences I had of people driving through the school zone like swinging nuts, and I have to absorb that and think about, ooh, am I ever one of those people? So again, where we sit right now is a result of where we sat or tried to sit yesterday. And don't allow right now to be tainted by yesterday. It should only be tinted. Let's take the ain't out of it and put the in to it. Shouldn't be tainted, should be tinted. Your experience, your current you should be tinted, not tainted by your past experiences, whether they be from this morning, yesterday, or 10 years ago. Because it should only be the positive aspects of that you absorb. The negative aspects you see, you observe, you learn from, but you don't absorb that, because now you have toxins in your system of which you will diffuse, distribute, pass forth. And they're not just going to get on other people, they're going to get on the outside of you. If you breathe out smoke, that smoke is just not just getting on you, it's getting on things around you. What should I say if you're puffing smoke? Okay, so think about that. Internal toxins are internal toxins in the sense of negativity become second-hand negative experiences for other people. And if all I see is what I think I see because of negative experiences, then I didn't see the whole thing, did I? And not only can I not see the whole thing, I can't even imagine what I could or might or should or would see otherwise. That's it, folks. What is the day? Wednesday. Hey, some people say hump day. Some people say wicked Wednesday. I'm just going to say, make it your day. Because it's always your option of how you get to interact with your day, your world, your surroundings. These are just my thoughts. Thoughts from the basement.